You were in DCU to see the two Fitzgibbon Cup semi-finals.
I was nearly blown away in DCU.
Yeah?
Oh,
There's not much here.
No, it was awful. It was so cold. Between the two matches, I ended up having to go for a run for about 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't realise where the DCU sports ground was as well, so I parked in DCU and ended up having to run about 3 kilometres to the pitch.
Ideal.
It's over by the Circle K on the main road, basically.
Did you go on the hunt after it? Or horse racing or something, did you?
That's the old horsey jacket, yeah.
So Carlow IT beat Mary Immaculate 5-14 to 15 points, and UCC, Mark Coleman with that late sideline, kind of robbing DCU 18 points to 17. To start off with Carlow IT, I didn't see a whole pile of that game. I saw Cahill Dunbar smashing in a beauty towards the end. Were Carlow on top throughout?
No, not really, no. Mary I were actually up, I think they were up 14 points to 2-7 midway through the second half, but Carlow were, well, with DJ and McDempsey over them, I shouldn't be surprised. If they got a sniff of a goal, they were taking the man on. They got 5 goals, could have had 7 or 8. Dunbar was very, very direct. Liam Blanchfield was really, really direct as well. And do you know what? Brian Cody was about 2 or 3 people down from me. He was there with his son Dermot, and it just shows you how, like, in braving the worst of the worst, to see his players or prospective players. And it kind of got me thinking, particularly looking at that game and then looking at the 2 Mullins and a couple of other lads in the second game. I think they have a lot more talent coming through, and I think their squad is maybe a lot deeper than people think as well. You know, you're looking at the first game, the IT Carlow game, you're looking at Liam Blanchfield, you're looking at Luke Scanlon, you were looking at Richie Lahey as well. Second game then you have Darren Mullen, Adrian Mullen, James Bergen was playing for DCU, DCU
he
as
really
well.
stood out. And you know, he did for Connie Shamrocks winning the Junior Club All-Ireland.
Yeah, like I think there's a fair you're always going to have depth given the strength of the club game in Kilkenny, but I think he would have been licking his lips the other day at the prospect of, I know Liam Blanchfield has played a good bit and Richie Lahey's played a good bit, but it shows you how young they still are. They've, like, Richie Lahey came on and got 4 points against Limerick, was it, in 2018 All-Ireland quarter-final, and he's still here, still in college in 2020. He's no more than 22 or 23.
Blanchfield played in the 2016 All-Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. As a very, very raw, probably 19, 20-year-old. He's still in college now, he's probably about 24. Like, there's a lot more, I think, to come from a lot of these lads. So,
did anyone stand out more than anyone else?
No.
And I mean from any county, like in that first game, particularly Carlow and Mary I.
No, Carl Dunbar's finishing was very, very good. No, it's funny with colleges, it can be difficult even to tell who is who a lot of the time, because it's, you know, I don't know, it's new jerseys, the familiarity with, you know, the Kilkenny jersey is not there. IT Carlow are very strong all over, to be honest with you. They're very, very strong all over. It's going to be an interesting final. DCU were obviously stopped. They were going for a unique treble. Don't know if it's been done before. They were going for Fitz, Sigerson and Collingwood, the soccer. So they were cut off the other day. They had very vocal support. But DCU had a serious squad as well. Serious squad, serious depth to it. Like, Evan Shefflin was pulled after about 20 minutes. And I don't think he was injured by all accounts. He'd just been slipped for a point or two.
Yeah, was it Robbie O'Flynn was doing a bit of damage on that side?
He was quite enough, but Shane Conway got a great point kind of down that wing. Fairness, like, Shefflin stayed very, very close with him, and Conway got a brilliant point off his hurl. It was weird. The first game was, Mary I should have been more on top. They had Tim O'Mahony in full forward, and he was quite dangerous on any ball that went in there. He got 2 great scores against
with his
the
own
Breeze.
versatility, isn't he?
Probably.
I wonder, is that going to plague him throughout his whole career, just the versatility and nobody ever just fixing him into one spot?
Yeah, and it's unlikely he's going to be fixed at full forward for Cork.
Because, you know, so many players, they end up fixed in one spot because of their limitations. They're like, well, he's a wing back and that's all he is. Whereas Tim O'Mahony, we can all see the raw materials, but he's definitely getting caught between 2 stools because we're not seeing his best hurling often enough anywhere. Yeah,
I think of him, you think of him playing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, anywhere across the half forward.
Played midfield in Championship last year.
You know, it is a tricky one. You kind of can get lost in translation a bit, I suppose, as well.
Do you think if he was left full forward for a year with Cork, and especially with like Alan Cadigan and maybe Patrick Horgan, you know, there are a few other options too, but those 2 around him, that he could be the guy to, you know, snap ball, win ball, but he's still got pace to turn and go at you maybe?
I don't know because I think that's probably one of the last places they're looking at him, funny enough, because they have, like, the other options, like they have, we'll just say Aidan Walsh is in around the forward line, Robbie O'Flynn is in around the forward line, you mentioned Cadigan, you mentioned Horgan, you mentioned Harndy, Conor Lehan, Declan Dalton, Shane Kingston. their cup is overflowing in the forward line, and maybe that's where they're trying to find somewhere else for him.
Yeah, but that just if they put him back centre back, where I have to say just yet it hasn't looked like it's worked for me. Then you're going to persist with something that may not work, and you're robbing Peter to pay Paul to some degree, or you're just not going to get the best out of him.
Yeah, it could be. It's a bit of when you were just saying there, Austin Gleeson was the one that sprung to mind a bit. Been moved around, and he's injured and carrying a knock now, but we still don't know where he's going to play and what his best position is. Does he even know? Do you know? Does Tim O'Mahony even know what his best position is at the moment?
Were you talking to the managers afterwards, or were you just?
No, I was just there watching it, to be honest with you. It's actually standing beside Robbie O'Flynn's dad for the second game. It's always interesting who you meet at these games. UCC have a serious squad, but it looked like DCU had just gotten a run on them.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were going to take them in the second half. They were 2 or 3 down midway through the second half. The breeze totally changed. It looked like they were playing kind of against it in the first half, and then it changed, and it looked like they were playing against it in the second half as well.
They missed chances too late on. Like they should have put that game.
They missed chances early on as well. They could have had a goal or two in the first half that would have left a big gap. The two Mullins came on. Darren Mullins really, really good on the ball. He was wing back. I'd say he had a pint cut within about 5 minutes of coming on the pitch.
Same in the club final. He was on his own. And
they're very good on the ball. DCU missed a couple of chances to get level. They had a free, maybe 65 yards out close to the touchline, and rather than Rory O'Connor taking it, Adrian Mullen was free on the far side. Someone hit over to him and he put it wide. I was kind of thinking, if it goes over, it's great, but I don't know. I think you're always better to take the free shot at goal.
But like for Rory O'Connor, we've seen that he didn't nail down that kind of job as free taker with Wexford. So maybe, and we know he can take them, but maybe he's not ultimately confident.
Yeah, I don't even think he hit the ball over to him. I think it was a quick free that was hit over to him by someone else. He had missed a couple as well, but
if you've got a 9 out of 10 free taker, you'd never even teammate would consider doing that.
You wouldn't even think about it. No, he had missed a couple. It was interesting styles. They were both playing, and it suited the weather. There was no real long ball, aimless delivery most of the time. Anyway, it was mostly taking the ball off the shoulder, and both of them were really flying around. Paddy O'Loughlin was very, very effective. He played kind of sweeper for UCC.
Did that last year too.
Yeah, his distribution can still not be hectic at times. He put 2 frees that he never should have taken on wide in the second half. But it was real. The thing that it just annoys me about the Fitzgibbon, like that, it's totally overshadowed. I know it wasn't a hurling weekend, but it was even overshadowed this weekend. The weather and football games that were on. I just think I think the league should possibly be pushed back a couple of weeks, and this should have maybe a 5-week block at the start of the year where players are just focused on it. Like some players have been flogged. Like Niall Brazel came on. He's going to miss the Fitzgibbon now. He played 80 minutes for IT Carlow last week. Came on at the end of Kilkenny's game against Carlow and pulled his hamstring. He's gone for 6 weeks. And that's DJ Carey's his Fitzgibbon manager and his coach with Kilkenny. Like, so whether he should have been on the field or not is even another story.
But he'll of course want to line out for Kilkenny because there's only so many chances you get.
There you go.
Plus you're looking at the Ballyhale lads coming back fairly soon.
It was funny actually because just even looking at any players that were playing, particularly Kilkenny players playing the other day, and you're just thinking like even not saying that anyone would ever phone in a performance or not give everything, but once you see the Messiah on the sideline, once you see him, you're just like, oh, is this another audition here now? I have to be absolutely on my game here.
You know, when you played Fitzgibbon Cup, was that during the era of it being a Fitz semi-final and final weekend?
Yeah. We played.
Did you prefer that?
Yeah, the weekend was unreal. Yeah.
But even just playing 2 games in 2 days.
Yeah, didn't really bother. Getting to the weekend was the big thing now. Whereas like those 2 teams played in semi-finals, but I don't think it's as big of a deal. When you get to the weekend, everyone remembers getting to the weekend, the crack involved, staying in the hotel, everything. We stayed in the Radisson out at the airport the time we got bet in the final in 11. We beat DIT in the semi-final and UCC beat us in the final. We had a table tennis table down in the lobby, and it was just great crack as well, and it's stuff that you remember for years to come, whereas I think it's kind of diminished a bit since they took the weekend away.
So you're going from Saturday games to a Wednesday final.
Yeah, like a Wednesday final, I don't know. There's no reason why it couldn't be played on a Sunday or whatever.
Yeah, well, especially seeing as there was no hurling this past weekend, maybe that would have been a case for a Friday. Could you work a Friday night and then a Sunday? give players
I
even...
still think it would be better, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, but the getting rid of the weekend, I'm not even sure what the reason was for getting rid of the weekend.
It must have been to do with injuries. It must have been.
But yet, there's still going to be boys picking up injuries anyway because
Yeah.
because of how condensed all the league games are.
Carlow against UCC in the final.
Yeah, Carlow obviously getting to the 2 finals. They were in the Sigerson finals again, totally against the grain. This is far less against the grain. Like they've ended rolling in goals. As I said, Cottle Dunbar, Liam Blanchfield, Luke Scanlon. They've lots of big names. Richie Latty as well. They'll put it up to UCC. It'll be very, very tight. I'd imagine UCC have gotten their scare now and gotten a bad game out of their system. And I'd say they'll probably edge it though. They just have, like Darragh Fitzgibbon was quiet for long stages the other day. Coleman was quiet. Kingston was quiet. Mark Yo stood up when they needed him, in fairness. Robbie O'Flynn was quiet.
Sounds like you're questioning the Cork lads.
I don't think it's
four out of the 5 lads you've named there are Cork senior hurlers.
Yeah.
Who, you know, their county teams accused of being flaky in the first place. So you're almost feeding into that team.
I could possibly be feeding into it. I hadn't intended to.
Yeah.
They've all played. Robert Downey was full back as well. All those names I mentioned too have had a lot of traffic the last couple of weeks too.
How's Jason Clear play?
I didn't really notice him, to be
because
honest.
he looked like being the Kilkenny option at centre back. They tried him there a couple of years ago.
I actually didn't. I didn't really notice him, to be honest with you. You're more. It was all. I don't know. Yeah, it was. He was kind of bypassed in the second half to a fair extent, and I didn't. He was one player I didn't really notice at all, to be honest with you.
Another lad, Chris Nolan, Mount Leinster Rangers, Carlow player.
Dangerous enough, yeah.
Really thought he's a guy who, as far as I was concerned, really made an impression on me a couple of years ago. I think he has the potential to be a very top player.
And even there, like I didn't even mention Jerry Kelly.
Yeah.
Jerry was very dangerous different times. He got a ball stolen through and gave a little dummy hand pass and took it on himself. But like Fitzgibbon hurling is ideal for him. Conditions are probably ideal for him as well.
Yeah, he won a great ball and hit on for Dunbar's goal.
Yeah, like they have a good squad. When you go through it, like even Pod Delaney from Laois, who played a good few games wing back, Jason Clear, Seamus Casey in the forward line, who we didn't even mention. Do you know? So they have a very, very strong squad. They'll fancy this will be their first one if they won it, like against the Aristocrats, and they were beaten in the final maybe 3 years ago by Mary I. They'll see it as a massive opportunity, and there won't be much in it.
Grant, let us know who you think will win that final. Thanks for watching Our Game. Don't forget to like and share the videos, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe.